announced, maybe we'll start. First, I think it's the new. So, my name is Tom Zagar. I am a senior educational technologist. I work in ITAP. And I have several of my colleagues here as well. I'm just going to have a few of them raise their hands. So we have Adam in the back, Matt in the back. We have Ben over here who's recording this via Connect. So we will have a recording of this. If you're worried about writing down all the apps that people are talking about, we'll have a recording of it later. We have Joe Conti, who's also with ITAP, Chris Mom, who's with ITAP and also is a PhD student in EdTech. Pat Reed. Anybody? Stan? Oh, Stan over here. Helping us with the sign-in. Our goal with this meeting is really to focus on what seems to be a growing interest in using iPads for instruction. And this could be using iPads as an instructor. This could be having students use their iPads or other mobile devices or other things they had. The goal of the group is to be less us being the experts and more a chance to get like-minded people like yourselves who are interested in this to talk to each other and to share ideas. So, and this is just the first meeting, so we're trying to get a sense of what will work and what won't work. What we plan on doing today is we will share a couple of iPad apps and talk about how they might be used for teaching and learning and also for just general productivity. Then we will sort of open it up for other people to share if they have apps or if they have uses of apps. And you can either, and this is going to seem a little bit like a religious testimony meeting or something. So you can come up. We have a dot cam here, so you can put if you have an app that we don't have and you want to show us, you can put it up here in the dot cam. We also have a VGA plug here that we can display as well. But our goal is really to start a community of sharing and of interest. Another thing that we plan on doing with the apps that are shared is either you, or if you prefer for us to do it, we want to do a short write-up so that we can have sort of a beginning of an encyclopedia of useful apps that are especially the most frequently asked about ones, like how can you project your iPad onto the screen and the presentation, things like that. So those are a couple of goals, a couple of purposes of that. If there are other purposes that come out of this, that's great. But we're really happy about the number of people that have showed interest. And so let's get started, I guess. There's a group on campus that develops applications for mobile devices, and or specifically that can be used easily on mobile devices. Inside of ITAP called Informatics. We're hoping that they'll show us an example of one of their tools that's new called Jetpack, which is a content delivery system. Hopefully we'll see that today. I have not heard back from them yet. I was hoping to, so hopefully they will come. Before we do that, then what we'll do is we'll just share a couple of the apps that we had looked at, and then we'll kind of open it up. And when we do a demo, what we're going to kind of do is like basically like a 5-minute demo. This is how it works. This is how I've been using it, or this is how I've been thinking about using it. Here's some pluses and minuses and things like that. So the first one that we're going to do is we're going to have Chris talk about AirSketch. Oh, yeah. Oh, another thing. So a couple more housekeeping things. Sorry, Chris. So, good point. So there's a wiki page. We have as many possible ways as we want this community to kind of connect. As many possible ways as we could think of to connect. So we have an emailing list. That's what, if you signed here and said you want to be on the mailing list, this will be an email group consisting of whoever came here today that you can talk to each other. We could also send out an email like maybe once or twice a month that's saying, here's our upcoming users group or something like that. We have a wiki page, which we can add you to if you want to edit. We have a mixable group, we have a hot seat group. As many ways, whatever would be the preference for you to connect to each other, we can set up a space for that to happen. So here's an example. This is our wiki page. What this will have are, so here's the, if you send me an email, if you want you want to be added to the email list and you have it on there. We'll have agendas and recordings, links to recordings of these meetings on there, and then we will have a list of the reviewed applications. So here's an example of one of those reviews, and this is the one that Chris is going to talk about today. So there's the developer description and some ideas about educational uses, and then some tips and tricks that Chris has learned through his own experience. And again, these can be developed. If you want to throw one of these up for the tools or apps that you're talking about, that's fine. If you want us to do that, we'd be happy to do that as well.
All right. The first app I'm going to talk about today is called AirSketch. And this is an app that will allow you to have a demonstration. So I have here on my iPad. This is a presentation that I've turned into a PDF. Some PowerPoint slides, saved as PDF. And then I've loaded them through Dropbox or through my email onto my iPad. And I have purchased this program called AirSketch, which is actually a $9.99 program.
If you get closer to the microphone, people can hear you on connect.
Okay, I'll do that. So the purpose of this is really simple. I think a lot of us, when we start out, we're saying the iPad's really nice to have, to make notes on or to highlight things, but how can I do that in my class? Well, with AirSketch, you can make live annotations to your slides in terms of drawing on them, and it will be broadcast. And this is Firefox that I'm running right here to play it. Now, there are a couple caveats with that, and this is AirSketch. There are a couple different types of apps that does this, but AirSketch is limited to your local network only. So this doesn't broadcast out to the web. This doesn't broadcast, someone who's off campus couldn't see this web address that I have. They can only see, only the people in this room, or perhaps the people on campus in the same network will be able to see the annotations. If we wanted to record these, then we'd have to use something like Adobe Connect or Boilercast in order to record what is on the screen if I wanted to share it with someone else. But the positive thing about that, though, is that it also, since it's on the local network, it doesn't have to rely on a third-party website. So there's not another website that I know that's going to have to be up, and in 3 years it's still going to be running using this app. So pluses and minuses, and again, this is all on that wiki page. Now, so in my controls here, maybe I'll come over here so they can see it. And I'm stuck with my iPad 1 here, so a little inferiority complex. So as you can see, I have this list of controls here. This is how I get my local web address. I can make it password protected if I don't want certain people to run it, etc. I can go through my slides. It recognizes the different slides in the PDF, so I can actually go from slide to slide. So this is almost like a slide remote. I can use my iPad for slides. Of course, the difference is it's in a PDF, so I can't have any animation. I can't have any movies. I can't have any sounds. If I would like things to come in on an individual basis, of course, I would have to have them all on separate slides, right? So one point to the next point, the next point, all on separate slides. What I have found through using it is that it's really nice to circle things, to make points. I can change this pen and I can make it a highlighter, and I can highlight through stuff. But it's not the easiest thing in the world, in my opinion, to use to write on the slide. In the sense that when I try to write with my finger, it's a little awkward. And you can imagine if you're standing here trying to write, even with the stylus, I think it's not going to be super easy to write on the fly. And it's also hard to, you can't really fit really small text on the slide. So you're kind of limited to big spaces and kind of writing big ideas if you're going to actually write using this program. The other nice thing, you can also have, a whiteboard, which is somewhere around here. That's not it. You have a whiteboard. You can also edit images. So if you want to display an image, and if I want to put an image up here off of my photo stream, I can put that in, put it on, and now I have my image that I can also annotate. And if I want to, I can always save these, and I can save everything with my annotations, and without it, I can save it onto the same file, or I can have it create a different file. So there's lots of nice options with this program.
Can you do video?
No, it won't. No, it won't. So I'll switch back to my PDF here. So there's no videos, there's not going to be any animations. And the other thing since it runs on a local network, this is something that you have to probably come in or wherever you're going to be using this and try it to make sure it's going to work. Since this is running through PAL 2.0, and this is running through this network here. This is just something you have to check and make sure that it will work.
Can both computers be on PAL, or is that going to cause a problem?
Both should be able to do it, but I haven't tested that.
How do you specify the IP address? I don't.
Can you show them how to specify the IP address?
Well,
That's the IP address of your iPad. What's the IP address of the computer you connected to? How did you connect? How did you specify that?
I don't believe that you can.
How did your iPad know to talk to that desktop computer?
It's broadcasting onto the network, and it's through this web address, and that's how. And I'm just pointing the browser to that web address.
So basically, grab the URL that came from there and paste it into the
IP address that came from there. And
yes,
paste
the
it
IP
in the
address,
browser.
and you paste it. It looks like a URL with like a local IP code at the end, and you just paste that into your browser, and then it sees it. Does that make? I mean, maybe you could demonstrate that.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Technically, I don't know how it works. I'm
I'm
surprised.
not, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I don't. It's but what I found though is that you have to make sure, like we were in a room, and I believe it was in Hanoi, that you could get it to work.
Well, I understood you would have to. You said it does this without rendezvousing at a third-party site. There's no.
Yes. So essentially, the iPad is hosting. Like I said, you have to test it and see if it's going to work. I personally, as I've been around computers around campus, I've tried it. It worked for me in class of 50. So I'm standing in the back row, class of 50, and controlling and annotating from the station down at the front. But it's something that you need to check before you try it.
What's to prevent a student from doing that too?
You can only edit it. Are you talking about prevent a student from?
Well, I mean, this connection seems to be.
If they see the IP address, can they type it in and connect to it?
They can view it on their device, but they can't edit it. Only the host, only the iPad host can edit it. If I wanted someone else to write on it, I would have to hand my iPad off to them. And if there are multiple hosts in one room, then you can have different port addresses. So you can actually determine your own address. And you can put a password protection on it if you don't want to see it, except for you don't want to.
There's an app too where you can actually use your iPhone and actually control the iPad system.
Do you remember what the name of that app was?
Let me go through and find out.
Is that what you use, George?
Well, for Keynote, you can use for
Keynote.
Did you have?
Well, I was going to read two things. One nice thing though is you have this IP address. You can save it on your career account, Firefox thing. So it opens up Firefox. You click on that IP, and you're just ready to go. So it's not as long as it takes the login to the computer. Which
Well,
could
as
be
long as your
20.
IP address doesn't change, right?
Well, yeah, but that's what you're saying. You can keep that IP address.
Yeah, it should be. It will automatically generate pretty much the same IP address each time, unless there are other people already using that IP on the network.
I actually use similar software that does go to a third site. It's called mysyncpad.com, and then you have your little, you could call it whatever afterwards. Same deal, same sort of thing. I like it because if both computers on the internet anywhere, you know,
Right,
it
so you can
works.
get through firewalls and behind address translation.
Yeah, and everything else there. I mean, the difficulty is, as you said, if somebody knows that IP address, they can see it, but that's kind of the point. You could have them conference in via speakerphone or something, and then everybody's looking at the same presentation.
Let me get that information anymore. You said this is a PDF file of your slides.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that file stored in the AirSketch app, that is, it's synced into the AirSketch app as a file?
Yes, it's one that I've gotten through Dropbox or through my email,
Okay.
and on the iPad done send to and send into AirSketch.
Okay, and then what's the browser got to do with it? I mean, it seems like you got the file with AirSketch.
The browser,
Just,
just,
yes.
yeah, reads the
Maybe we can run
broadcast.
that down so it looks
Okay.
like what it actually is.
Okay. Okay.
So I hit F11 to make it full screen, and then, so it's just a browser window. I tend to use Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. It has to be an HTML5 browser. So IE doesn't play well most of the time. And again, it'll annotate, and then the other nice thing is I can really quickly clear off everything with a little X down here at the bottom. Clear off those files. I don't want to.
Well, stylus will write at reasonable resolution?
I haven't had a lot of experience with the stylus.
It's also easier to put in, yeah, that'll work fine.
I don't know, we'll see.
Let's see here. So this is,
That's actually not bad.
yeah, that's actually.
It looks, but it does look better on the iPad than it does on the projection.
Yeah, that's better than this, where it looks like a flower shell.
So this is just one of the tools that can do that. I mean, George, do you want to show them that you?
Yeah, in fact, if you go to mysyncpad.com,
What's the address?
mysyncpad. So it's www.mysyncpad, syncpad.com. UG. And so I've got the same kind of thing. And again, with all of these things, you can, yeah, and if people go to it, you can see, you know, like everybody's doing it, and I can import a local PDF that is my particular thing. So, oh, here at Purdue, we talk about balance, and we talk about the balance of work and play, and as you go through, you can do these different things. Step it's the same kind of deal.
Are you the only person that can edit it?
What's that? I think that one might be $4.99, so it's a little bit different.
To create the website.
Oh, the website is for, yeah, you can do as many of those as you want, and it's only limited by what imagination you think of that last letter to be. So UG is for undergraduate, because we do $10, sorry.
Not clear what he's projecting. He has an image that he's projecting.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I pulled a PDF. I actually think AirSketch has more options down at the bottom. I don't know if you can, well, so you can look at mine, but it's just, it directly connects to Dropbox, but it's the one that I've done. There's also one called Jot, J-O-T, that does the same sort of thing. Never tried it.
And so we'll add those to the wiki as we investigate. Did you say you thought it was $4.99?
No, it's $9.99. So
$9.99.
same. Apparently, everybody's pricing roughly around the same.
I thought this was cheaper a couple months ago too. So,
Yeah, I feel like I got it for cheaper than this, and maybe they figured it out. I will say that from a teaching standpoint, this is the first time I thought, yeah, this is what a tablet could really be used for. You can go around, you can note things, and what you can do is you can have a blank slide where you ask the students where you would typically write in the blackboard, you can write on this, and it kind of trade-off. Now you also, of course, because if you have an iPad 2 as a camera, you can take a picture of student work, and then that's up on the screen. So it's like your own portable document cam kind of thing as it goes along, and annotate it as you go along with it. So that's, it's been
Take a picture of sleeping students.
projected screen.
Are all of these iPads, does anyone have Android solutions?
I mean, just to get a sense, how many of you are using like a Droid tablet? Just two.
Just you and me.
Well, so then we're sort of going where the people are on this.
Well, I have an iPad here, so yeah, excuse me.
But we're curious. We want to make sure we want to support, you know, or help enable as many people as we can. But it seems like everyone's So, okay, anything else besides iPad? Okay, Tad's back.
I have a Windows 7.
And who makes the tablet?
It's an Asus eSlate. So it runs Windows 7 natively and has all the, because I'm a PowerPoint guy, so I didn't want to have to bother doing PDFs, and because I edit on the fly often when I lecture, and so then it just made sense.
So then do you, would you mind showing that on the document?
So this runs any Windows software.
This is Windows 7, so I have basically all the Windows regular menus. It functions a lot like a tablet, like when you're browsing or something. Let me get something here that's interesting. So you can scroll up and down just like normal, but it actually has a stylus. And so I have like my lecture notes over here, and then I can just start a presentation, and I can just click through just like normal. And then if I wanted to edit, I mean, for now, I've just been using the felt tip pen, but it's, you know, it's pretty clear. And the nice thing is that this stylus, if you just use the other end, it automatically erases. So I can just very quickly, you know, say, okay, we're doing this, and, you know, we're going to use a array, whatever, and, you know, and then, oh, whoops, I don't want that there, so.
So that pen comes with this, right?
This comes with the Asus. There's a little slot right here that it slides into right there. So, but the device is actually really powerful. It has an SSD hard drive, so it's really snappy, 4 gigs of RAM. I mean, it will blow away any other tablet device. So it is more expensive. It's like maybe $1,100 or $1,200.
How much does it weigh?
It's almost 3 pounds because, see, I've used an iPad before, and I like the mobility. And so then when my department said, okay, we'll get you a tablet, they were going to get one of the flip-top laptop with the tablet device. And I was like, I'm not going to lug that around. Like, I mean, it's either an iPad or something else. And so it actually, it is like almost double the weight of an iPad. I think an iPad 2 is like 1.3 pounds. This is like 2.8 or something like that. So, but the other thing about me is I'm an IT geekhead, so I'm all about everything computer. I build my own computers and the whole 9 yards. And so, but I didn't want to bother with porting from Windows, which I use heavily, to PDFs all the time, and then emailing those to myself, and et cetera, et cetera. So this seemed like the solution. So I think that with I don't know how to get out of here actually now.
Question, so basically, it's operating like a tablet, so you can do movies, you can go on URL, go places and all that.
This is a Windows device, so anything that you can do on a Windows PC, you can do on this device. It has an i5
Okay.
quad-core processor, so and there's a quick, if you can bring up the keyboard here above what you're doing here, and so you need to get out. I mean, it's pretty nice. Now, the idea eventually is to connect this, because I'm a heavy projector PowerPoint guy. So the reason we went with this is because, unfortunately, it has 2 USB ports. I don't know if you guys can see, but it does have USB here on the side, so that you can actually get a device that will connect to the VGA port on the projector, and you would actually be able to project the projector directly using this adapter set. But the problem is it doesn't support Windows 7. So we got this now, and I can still connect via, you know, I can be tethered to the workstation, but ultimately I want to be wireless, right? And so, but I can use AirSketch in the same kind of solutions, I think, that the iPad uses as well. So
You load other software like Simulator and things like that, so do that.
Anything for a PC, you can get on here, so.
So is it called
It's called an Asus.
Asus?
I like my belt tip then. It's called an Asus. And I don't know how many E's, bunch of E's. And it's a slate. So you gotta be careful because there's only one version that actually runs Windows 7. Like I think Pam had one.
I've got an Asus EEE transformer, and it does not run Windows 7.
Yeah, so you don't want the transformer. The slate is the device, but it's
Scary.
so.
What does it do a teacher? Just walk out the
It's
room.
more than meets the eye.
It's more than meets the eye.
What's the battery life on that one?
It is much shorter than an iPad. I think, I haven't used it extensively, but I was told like a 2-hour window. So, whereas an iPad's like, what, 8 or something?
10, 20.
Yeah, so they'll always spike it a little bit. Well, I take it home and I watch movies in my bed and I can get through a movie, so.
Is it work, so is that what you use? You put it under a dock cam and then project it to students? Is that how you use it?
It actually has a, you can't see it again, but on the side here it has a mini HDMI port.
Okay.
So that I could actually get an adapter and actually tether to the VGA port on the workstation here. Because what I don't want to have to do is I don't want to have to log into this workstation and do it that. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's better and you can be mobile and stuff. But the big thing I needed was this ability to annotate on the fly and to be able to exit out. Again, I don't know how to exit out of here.
Escape. Press that again to escape.
So if you hold down the stylus, it's a right click. So you get a little window there, and you can right click and get your right click menu, which I use all the time, but I don't know how to answer. What question was that?
So you basically just run off that like you would like a laptop or something?
Exactly. I mean, this functions like a laptop, it just doesn't have to wait, because there's no way, I mean, I can throw this in a stack of papers like an iPad, right? I'm not logging a laptop to my classroom too late.
Do you know how it compares with the Lenovo tablet? Because that also acts like a Windows laptop.
The difference with this and any transformer or flip-top laptop is,
No, it's just the tablet, the Lenovo has a tablet now.
does it run Windows?
Yeah.
Oh. I have no idea then. So, but I mean, this is a, close some things. It's a quad core, well, it's a dual core processor, but it's hyper-threaded. So I eventually have 4 cores, and it's more powerful than a lot of computers around. So it's pretty, but you pay for it, right? It's, I think, $11 or $1,200. So.
Does it have an integrated GPS or what?
It's because it's a Windows device. It doesn't have. It's not like apps, right? It's well, they're applications, but it's not apps in the sense of an iPad app or a Droid app. It's Windows.
I mean, what I was asking, like the iPads, the ones with the 3G have a GPS.
I don't think it does.
And,
I mean, it basically comes with Windows 7. So whatever comes with Windows 7, and then whatever applications you put on top of that. So I don't know if there's a GPS application for Windows, but it just doesn't seem like, so it's, you know, I know I'm in between the worlds here because I've used an iPad extensively. I have an iPod, and I have another one at my other job that I use frequently, but I needed Windows, so that was a big deal for me. So.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
So I want to correct something. So the Lenovo ThinkPad tablet uses Android, but I think the HP Slate uses Windows 7.
HP,
HP has a Slate.
it may, now,
Yeah.
so.
It does have GPS on it.
This does?
Yes.
I'm not a
He
GPS
never gets
user.
lost.
Oh, one of those you can. So, at this point, I kind of want to open it up. We have some other apps that we could share, but if anyone else is using stuff,
Well,
George,
yeah,
want to come up?
I can show you a few things, because people were asking about presentation stuff. Obviously, Keynote works, right? And I don't know if you ever used Keynote versus PowerPoint, but for those of people who transfer to Keynote, you never want to go back to PowerPoint. Right? Just, it's that much better. And again, this is what I carry to class. You log in. It's just your laptop. It's the same thing you would plug in for your laptop. And here you go. And the interesting thing about the iPad 2, of course, whatever's on the screen, you can see. So if there's an app that you got, you can show it to people. Or in the case of Keynote, if you want to talk about a particular class, you just click it, and it works just like anything else. And if you have an iPhone or something like that, you can log into this so you can control it manually with the iPhone. So you can walk around and do the sort of presentation just like you would everywhere else. So when you have things that drop in as they go along, and you can do this kind of fancy, like rather interesting that you see moving things around, things like that. You know, just very kind of, you know, the kind of classy, sort of polished presentation as you go along through different things. And very particular things like that. But it is, and for those that are curious, of course, there's a program called Quick Office that lets you edit and open PowerPoint and everything else as well as you go. So it's not that those kind of things are a ballot sheet or a quick PowerPoint. So it's not that, you know, people are concerned, oh, I can't do it with my PowerPoint. If you have PowerPoint transitions, you can directly present them. It works just fine, and you can remotely control them. Yes?
We have a question from online. Can you insert video clips on the iPad?
Yes, absolutely. In every way, shape, and form. And of course, you can play videos too. But within the PowerPoint videos, you can use PowerPoint videos within PowerPoint and within Keynote. And let's see if I have one that has. I don't know that I, oh, yeah. Oh yeah, well, we'll just show you a couple. Here's an example of the kinds of animations you can do. Here's a group of things. Push the button, oh, it rearranges them as you go along. You can talk about this, talk about that. All this is created within Keynote itself. Dead easy to do. You can pop the things out as you go.
Did you create this in Keynote on the Mac?
I created the Keynote on the Mac, but actually it has to do with the Keynote on the iPad for the vast majority of stuff. Like, well, and actually if I break out of this here, if you can see it, you can just click on it, you want to move it around, I'll just move it around here. You want to resize it, or exercise it, you know, click on the graph and edit the graph, copy. It turns out it's pretty quick to move this kind of stuff around and set it exactly right. It's a lot more direct.
So Keynote's a Mac program.
Keynote is a Mac-only program, and specifically for this.
And it's an app.
And it's an app, that's right.
So will it take PowerPoints and reconfigure?
Yep, the reconfigures the PowerPoint slightly. In fact, I think this started out live as a PowerPoint, but there's a video of a kid doing the head-to-head reference procedures.
So if you wanted audio on this, you just would get.
Oh yeah, I just
plug it into the.
Just like you would your laptop, you plug it into the little plug that they have.
One nice thing about that when you're for the remote, it shows your lecture notes that go into the lecture, the note area of PowerPoint at the bottom of the display. The notes show down at the bottom of your iPhone, so you can read your notes that way when you're walking around. And you can also press and hold your finger or a stylus on the iPad, and it shows up the hot, like a pointer.
Right. Here. You can point at it. And again, if you're capturing it through Echo 360, that's how it goes. But, you know, like here. So you have this remote app. Once again, it's an app. And it connects to Keynote on the iPad.
That one's called Keynote Remote.
Yeah, that's called Keynote Remote. Like I've got to work every.
You were in airplane mode on your iPad.
Yeah.
Does that remote work over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
It works over Wi-Fi. Well, yeah, I could turn on Bluetooth. That is something I didn't.
This Wi-Fi won't work with
I think it's back to 2.0. They both have to be on Cal 2.0 though. What I could do is Bluetooth too, so it's. Wonder if it's something about this.
I've got mine linked if you'd like to see.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're just swipe across like that. And then it shows the lecture notes at the bottom like that. And you just keep swiping across. But if you're standing at the iPad, you can just use a spotter like that. So that's all there is to it. The Keynote app is what, $1.99 or
The remote.
the remote is $1.99. Keynote is 10. So anyway, that's it's easier than lugging around a computer.
So how do you get from the iPad Keynote to the projector? Is that just on the docking
That's
panel?
just plug in. No, there's a actually there's
Docking
a
adapter.
adapter. Yeah.
Oh, that's
There's
okay.
a dock on this side and a VGA out on the other side. There's also an HDMI out too if you want to plug into your friend's TV. But unfortunately at Purdue, all of these things have that laptop plug, so that's what we use.
But the little end is the thing that fits in the iPad.
And for the iPad 2, it'll show whatever's on the screen. For the iPad 1 with Keynote, though, it still will show.
It will show exactly what you see, but it won't show what's on the screen as it goes.
My main trouble is getting stuff to the iPad, so you have to sync it through iTunes.
Okay, so speaking of things,
Yeah.
Dropbox. If you've never used Dropbox before, it's great.
I can't get into Dropbox somehow. I've had trouble with
Yeah,
that.
so,
I was wondering if somebody had come up with a better solution for that.
yeah, and Dropbox works great. Well, of course, iCloud actually works. But in this case, Dropbox. So if you go to your Dropbox account, let's see. This person has a particular Keynote, and you just download the Keynote from your Dropbox.
So do you store it as a Keynote format in Dropbox?
Yes. Yeah,
You have to do that first.
yeah. Well, and I just say, like you're editing Keynote on your Mac at home in Dropbox, you're done. You just.
So have you tried saving it in the PowerPoint format and then getting it out of Dropbox? Because that was what I was having trouble with. Has anyone else used that?
Yeah, I've used it. I haven't had that problem.
And you can store it in the PowerPoint
Yeah.
format? Okay.
Yeah,
I must be
you
doing
launch it
something
here, and
wrong.
then you just open it in Keynote.
So to be clear, what you're saying is you have a presentation, you save it in Dropbox, you open up your Dropbox on your iPad, and open it up, and it will open Keynote, like it does the translation right there.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I didn't try that.
If you saved it as a PowerPoint, it will open up as a PowerPoint.
Okay.
And you can open it in Keynote or, yeah. So you open it first in Dropbox, and then you can open it in Keynote, or in my case, you can open it in Quick Office and play it as a PowerPoint.
So you would still need to convert it to Keynote.
Well, Keynote will do that automatically. If you say open PowerPoint.
Keynote on the Mac will do that, but not Keynote on the iPad,
Right,
right?
open PowerPoint?
That's what I'm asking. Is that what you were asking?
Well, when I opened my PowerPoints here after putting them on using iTunes in a sync, then the Keynote app automatically translated them into a Keynote format and played them without a problem.
Okay.
But it's getting it to the iPad. You know, if you don't want to have to sync through iTunes every time you want to add something, it's just kind of, I thought there might be an easier way. So if Dropbox works, then that would be ideal.
It will. You have to go to Dropbox through the web page interface to load up Safari, go to Dropbox. And when you click on your PowerPoint file, it'll say open, how do you want it? You click and hold on the link.
Oh, so don't use the Dropbox app, use the Dropbox through the web page on Safari.
Exactly.
Ah, brilliant.
It'll work a lot better.
And as I said, Quick Office is a good way to deal with all your Office things. The other one that I just have to put a shout out for, that we talked about before, is Good Reader. It reads just about anything, connects to just about anything, connects to Dropbox, Sugar Sync, every possible thing, and reads just about every possible thing. So you can get to keep all your PDFs and your files, and of course it's annotation. So you can highlight a particular, highlight something, highlight as you go along. Reader app for the guest records. What's the name of that one? Good Reader. There's another one called PDF Expert, and all you want to do is annotate PDFs. I find Good Reader seems to be more flexible in that it has all these tabs and annotations. You can also draw on it if you want. Put your own notes, annotations. There are also a few screen capture type apps that will let you open up a PowerPoint, annotate on it, and capture your lectures and recordings. But between the Good Reader and the two that I use the most, especially in the classroom.
Great. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I have a question for the group. Mark let us borrow his stylus. What are people's experiences with stylus, and what else do you use it for?
I have a Target stylus, whatever, they're all pretty much the same. I use a app called Penultimate. I think it's still $2. It's an amazing note-taking app. You can have grid lines or just blank sheets of paper. It's college rule paper, virtual paper. And then you can save it as PDF with or without the lines and send it to anywhere.
So that's better than the notes that come with the iPad?
The notes that come with the iPad, you're forced to type, but if you want to draw or sketch, there it is right there.
Okay, so you can use the stylus.
Absolutely, yeah.
What's that called again?
And this, by the way, I use something that's made by Jot. It's a pen that looks like a ballpoint pen with a little disc on the end, so you can see where you're writing a little bit more closely.
How much is that one?
I think it's $19.
Or even
It's not bad. The only thing is it makes a little bit of a tapping sound, which is right. And the hardest is more.
Is that a full height pen?
Yeah. But it just has a little, think of a ballpoint pen with a tiny, sort of a tiny little, but the thing that's nice is that you can get in closer and edit around things, and you can see what you're doing, just much closer to
Because all the styli out there, generally they're about a 3/4 height of a normal pen, and it will slowly drive you nuts. And having a full height pen, I would now go out and get one. That's what I've been really wanting, is something full height. It just doesn't rest as well in my hand as a full size pen. It's probably just muscle memory. Just like I'm used to a pencil or pen.
It won't scratch it, but it feels like it. You know?
Oh yeah. That's
So
take it away from me for a content. There we go.
Get the 10% commission on it.
Very.
That's fine. You worked.
So, If anyone else has any others to share, that'd be great. What I want to do though, before people start leaving, is try and get a sense of when the majority of you could meet again before the end of the semester. So I have a hot seat, little quiz thing to do that. You can use your iPads. Do that. So let's do that really quick. If you want to go to Safari or your browser of choice. And you can go to www.purdue.edu/hotseat. And it'll ask you to log in. I've already logged in. Or actually, what it may ask you to do, it may have a screen that has like a blue thing that says log in and then a black button that says look at our media. Click on the blue button that says log in. Put in your login information. And if you scroll down on the right hand side, there's an iPad and tablet users group, and there's a topic called December meeting. And what I have are a bunch of options. I have basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday of 3 weeks. The week after Thanksgiving, dead week, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, or the last week of classes, finals week. If you could just click on the vote, so like I did right there, you just click on that, that will add a vote. If you could just vote on the ones that would make sense for you, feel free to take a second. Basically, the best thing about a meeting like this is that people popped up and started talking and showing us stuff. So the more people we have coming and being in the room with us, I think the better chance we have of all learning and growing. So I want to get as many people as we can to the next meeting. So take a second if you would. And if you use Doodle, this is like a whole meeting.
Can you undo a vote?
No.
Just like the election.
Just to name the recap.
Sorry, you voted for the poor guy.
So what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's right. Putting the vote twice to overcome.
What I'm seeing is of days who are voting. It looks like we have 9 for the end of dead week before finals start. Okay, so as we go until the rest, until we're all done, you can just look on there and check with your calendar. We'd love to get this side of the group again. Also, if you are interested, or if you have other questions, or if you're like, this is nice, but what about? Here's something else that I'd like to learn about, or something else I'd like to talk about. There's another topic. There's one for today. So if you go on here and go to switch topic, go to the one that's the 10-25-11 meeting, and you can submit a thought, or if you have a question. Again, all the apps that people talked about, I've been writing it down. We have 2 separate recordings of this meeting. We'll make sure that we have a list of all these apps, and we'll put those up on the wiki page. We will send you a link to the wiki page through the email list that you signed up for here. So if you want to make sure that you're on that email list, be sure and write your name on there. We'll get you all of this information. Any final apps that people want to show, or final questions for the group? Did you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Come on up. Great.
with Vice President for Student Affairs. What is this plug into?
You can just do this.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about Dropbox. I'm a big fan as well. If you register with your Purdue.edu email address, you'll actually get double the storage capacity for any .edu. Highly recommend that. This is Dropbox here. I don't know if you already showed it. This is actually a keynote presentation that I'm viewing in Dropbox. But the nice thing about it is it integrates with other things really well. So I'm not such a fan of the note-taking app, but plain text is really nice. It's free. It integrates with your Dropbox, and it's great because it's always in Dropbox. Again, that's called plain text. So when you make edits, it goes up to your Dropbox. Forget about it. You don't have to save it. It's just always there. So that's the beauty of Dropbox. What else? For news reading, Flipboard is amazing. It's like your own personal magazine. It would actually be pretty great for research. I'm a big Twitter user. You can put lists in here, like if you have Twitter lists, like Twitter Purdue list or tech people in Purdue or whatever. It will pull up anytime anybody tweets a link. It gives you a beautiful little synopsis, pulls in photographs. But you can see here, like this is a tweet at the bottom, and it's pulling this URL and just making it into a magazine kind of format. So that's called Flipboard. It's free. Very highly recommend that. iMovie is amazing. It's $5. And my little story is I spent several hours on a ultimately 3.5-minute video project on my Mac using the Mac version of iMovie. And I did another 2 or 3 minute video project, recorded on an iPhone, put it on my iPad, and I edited the whole thing in about 15 minutes, and it was on YouTube. It didn't have to render, it rendered in like 2 minutes. It was on YouTube like immediately. So it's got great integration with social media, sharing to Facebook and YouTube and all that. But what you do is you basically just drag in a video clip like this. And let's say I want this video clip as well. And I want to put a photo in there. Oops. My son's been playing around, as you can see. And then, let's say you want to stick a transition in there, or a text. You double tap your clip. You can put in a title. I can put in an ending title, and oops. I think my iPad's a little bit sticky right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Trying to go to the we stick the text in. Maybe it doesn't work on a photo. So you double tap that, and then you try there we go. And you just edit the, it's a bad demo, huh? My Hollywood movie board. And then voila, you have your video. You can see this bright here. This is a soundtrack, but you don't have to have a soundtrack in the back. You can bring in music from iTunes or stream music, and then that's it. There's your movie. So I'll get to the transition here. So it's got nice transitions, and then basically when you're done, you go back here, and then save it to YouTube. Type in your YouTube credentials, voila, it's on YouTube. So it's the easiest and best $5 to spend if you're into video. So Oh yeah, and the stylus, this is pretty cool. It's a magnetic stylus, so it's great for iPad too. I have a personal interest in these guys because I know the guys that created this. They're Irish. It's available. It's called the Maglus.
How do you spell that?
Maglus, and it's magnetic, so it works really well with the smart cover, and it doesn't fall off the smart cover. I was shaking it pretty hard, but it's pretty, and it stores away easily. It just flips away when you're not using it. But it works pretty well. I'm not a huge fan of Styli, but you know, it's got a pretty good response. I don't have any drawings on here, but I did test one on my home app, and I was able to make my signature look pretty nice. Just with this tip, and it's got a good feel to it. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
All right, well, we're right up to 3. Thank you for coming, and we'll send out a meeting announcement about when the next one will be. And again, if you've got apps that you're using in this next time, get ready to come up and show them to us, and we'll try and we'll probably be in a different room next time. We'll let you know what it is. Thank you very much for coming.
You should know each other. No, he's gonna.